my name is Jamie. Welcome to Dreaming in Jungle. On this channel, I mostly make videos on how to take care of your plants. And today's plant is the air plant. So air plants can be a little finicky, and I have found that the best lighting solution for them tends to be in a window with indirect sunlight all day long. So I have my air plants in a northwest facing window, so they don't get direct light all day, but they do get that nice indirect light that tends to make them very happy. So I'm going to show you my air plants and how I style them, because I find that air plants, unlike most plants, you can just stick wherever because they don't need soil, they don't need a ton of water, and they would happily live in some sort of funky little pot and be absolutely fine. So this air plant, which I've had for probably about 5 years, lives happily in this little hurricane lamp kind of vase. And I just put it in with some sand. I believe this is either sand from my house or sand from a beach somewhere. I've got some little fake palm trees in there, and I plop it in its own little beach chair. And how cute is that? It just kind of sits and hangs out and looks very tropical in my kitchen window. I live in a place where it is not tropical, so the more tropical plants I can have, the better. So I will say that this guy has probably grown the most of all my air plants. I'll show you the rest of the air plants that I have sitting in that window. I have got one that I believe is a very similar type of air plant to the big guy over there, but which hasn't grown as much. So this one I just have sitting in, again, some sand, but then I just crocheted this little round pot, and this little air plant sits in there quite prettily and seems to be very happy. So next I have another little sand jar and two different types of air plants. This one actually has a baby growing off of it. You can see it grows off the bottom, sort of attaches to mom. This was the mother plant, and this is the baby growing off. And I know they can be detached, but I am a little hesitant to do that because both are growing so well, although there are some brown ends on this one, so maybe it's time to take baby off. So I just keep that in some sand. These guys don't need any soil, and they don't need sand either, but I like the way they look. This is kind of a lighter guy that kind of reminds me of a spider, but I just keep these two together. And then the last one I have here that sits in that window is just a big, kind of grassy looking air plant. So the way that I water these is that most of the time I plop them in water. So once a week, when I'm doing most of the rest of my watering, I have a big bowl and I plop all of my air plants in this big bowl together, and they just kind of have a nice bath. I try to make the water lukewarm because I think they enjoy that more than icy cold water, because I know I would. But you can see they're just kind of sitting in there having a nice bath. The other thing that I do with these in the winter is I spritz them once in a while, maybe every couple of days. I go around my house and I spritz all of my tropical plants with just a little spritz of water from a spray bottle. And I do that because my home is pretty dry in the winter. We live in a state that's very dry. We run the heat all winter long, so the air in our house doesn't have a lot of moisture. I do run humidifiers, but sometimes it's just not enough. So I will go around the house spritzing my plants, and the air plants get a good spritz too, and they seem to love it. They seem to thrive in that indirect sunlight and a little bit of spritz, and then this weekly bath of about half an hour. So that's air plants for you. Sometimes they're difficult and sometimes they're easy. I guess it just sort of depends on the air plant. I will tell you that I've had other air plants. I haven't kept them in windows. I've kept them away from windows, and they have not done well. So I would definitely suggest keeping them in some sort of indirect sunlight window and giving them enough water so that they don't get too dry. I think that's about it for air plants. I know that they can be a challenge. They don't grow much or quickly. Even the one that I've had the longest, which is this guy, it's grown quite a bit, but I don't think it's ever going to be a gigantic plant. That's just not what they do, at least not in my home. You may have better luck getting them to grow like crazy, and that's awesome, and I would love to hear what you do. But As long as I can keep them alive and happy looking, that's the most important thing to me. So if you have any other questions about air plants, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer it if I can. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I share plant care videos about once a week or so, maybe every other week, depending on how busy I am. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.